What does the Bible say about angels?
Well, the Bible does talk about angels quite a bit. In Genesis, all the way through the Bible, even in Revelation, the name angel means messenger. These are spiritual entities that can oftentimes be manifested even in physical form. St. Jude mentions Michael as an archangel who even disputed over the body of Moses with the devil. Genesis 3 reveals the cherubim who were sent to guard Eden. Isaiah 6 talks about how the Lord was sitting on a throne and above him was a six-winged seraphim. Genesis 19 talks about how there were angels dispatched to Sodom and Gomorrah to see its destruction. In Luke chapter 1, we see the angel Gabriel appear to Mary, announcing the birth of Jesus. And then in Revelation, we see 7 letters written to 7 churches, and each one of those churches had an angel that was assigned to them. So throughout the Bible, we see angels as these messengers, but also many times they have divine directives and activities that they're assigned to accomplish.
What does the Bible say about demons?
Well, demons are real. The Bible talks about them as these spiritual entities that can even manifest themselves in physical ways. We see how people in the Bible can be oppressed by demonic activity. They can be possessed by demons. We see how this possession or oppression can sometimes show itself as a sickness or in wicked or wild behavior. But as scary as this might be, Christians do not have to be fearful of them. In fact, the Bible talks about how the demons are fearful of Jesus. They recognize his authority. There's one time in which Jesus was speaking to them. They said, "Why have you come to torment us before our time?" So as Christians, what should our response be? Well, we recognize the demonic activity can be real, but also recognize it doesn't have to be for us. That as Christians, we can seal the door and close off demonic activity, but also hold on to the promises of God. In James, it talks about how if we submit to God, resist the devil, he will flee from us. We're told that greater is he who is in us than he that is in the world.
Who are the Nephilim?
The Nephilim are these mysterious creatures mentioned in the Bible. In Genesis, it says the Nephilim were on the earth in those days and also afterwards, and when the sons of God came into the daughters of man, and they bore children to them. These were the mighty men who were of old, the men of renown. And then in Numbers 13, it says that these Nephilim were giants, that we were like grasshoppers to them. It seems that they were physically very impressive. The ancient world seemed to treat them like they were giants. The book of Enoch is a non-biblical book, but it was written during biblical times, and it popularized this idea. The Nephilim were some hybrid race, meaning that the sons of God were these fallen angels who had slept with human women and then gave birth to this weird hybrid race or species called the Nephilim.
So what's the book of Revelation about?
The book of Revelation is God's revelation to John the Apostle of the last days, also called the Apocalypse. And it's rich, full of all kinds of imagery, symbolism, dreams, and visions. It was written in the end of the 1st century. John is the last apostle to be alive. He's exiled to the island of Patmos, and it's on this island that he's writing what he feels God has showed him. And he's writing it to the 7 churches of Asia Minor. They're all written to these churches to kind of show them what the end of the world would look like. When John's writing this book, you can see many themes. One of them is you're seeing the sovereignty of God, that even when it looks like the world is falling apart, when we get a glimpse into heaven, we see God is in control, that God is still on the throne, that God still is ruling over all of the events, both spiritual and physical. We see the triumph of Christ. No matter what happens to us personally and physically, or the church around the world, in the end, Jesus is going to be victorious, that he's going to survive. One mistake that people make is when they read the book of Revelation, they are taking it too literally. They forget that John is getting a revelation of a spiritual realm. So he's seeing things happen in heaven, and he's trying to put words to them that may not be perfect, but it's the best he can do based on what he experienced. So once you understand that this is a book full of imagery and symbolism, that should kind of humble you as you're reading it and draw you to want to study more of the Bible, so that you can get a better appreciation for some of the symbolism. For example, you can't read the book of Revelation without reading Jesus' own teaching about the end times in like Matthew chapter 24, or even the book of Daniel. Like all of these books should be read together, because once you read them together, you start to see holistically what the book of Revelation is about.